Oh, okay. Here we go. All right, you guys. Here we go. Another just chatting stream. Of course, you guys, as always, can talk about anything you want. The highlighted topic in the that thing in the title is just I'm just fascinated with watching these meltdown videos, and I'm going to be watching some more on the channel here as to what people think exactly is going to happen. And I don't say this mockingly. I'm genuinely interested how people think that the Trump presidency is going to change their day-to-day lives. And so far, I haven't been able to get any real answers on that. Hi, Jill. And Captain Rex Crow, Mr. Psych, Zuchen, Embercrit, Hey, Harun, good to see you again. ZZ Gaming, Mackenzie, AG Doom, Connor's in. Yeah, I'm just really, I'm just really curious as to how people. Now, granted, I get he can be extremely obnoxious. He's definitely off-putting with his personality, but I'm trying to figure out what people think is going to happen to them, as I said, on a day-to-day basis. Now, if you're in the country illegally, I grant you that you got lots to worry about right now. But outside of that, I hear all this and see all this psychosis about it, and I don't really understand why. Oh, that's fair. Chrome says, I mean, technically it will change mine because it benefits my industry immensely. And that I can get, but that wouldn't be cause for a meltdown. We're looking for the meltdown people. But yes, I can see how that would have an impact if a Trump presidency is going to help, or I guess it somehow hinder your employment. Well, that's what I think. Hannibal says a lot of it is people propagandize into it. And that's really what disturbs me about that big hunk of it. And again, I'll both sides this. These idiots on social media, these accounts that are created just to try and stir up some interactions for themselves and tell half-truths, no truths, make shit up directly, anything to get the masses riled up. Unfortunately, they succeed a great deal of the time. And my big thing is, regardless of which side you're on here, and I've said this before, I'll say it again, I'll say it over and over. If you're reading something on social media, and whatever that claim may be or whatever it's talking about, even if you agree with it, even if it's something that you like, don't just assume that it's the truth. And the best way to go about that is don't just read what the author wrote, read the comments below. Because for everybody that, has X opinion, there will be people with Y opinion. Or people calling out the original poster who's not telling you the truth. Hi. I love that as our opening now. Hi. Oh, we got super chat. Hold on, let me grab this from Totally Awesome. Good screen name. Says, to answer the question, Bitcoin has gone up, which made my day better. I'm not sure if Trump has anything to do with that. Yeah, anytime the investments are paying off, yes, that's definitely a good thing. Oh, Jesus Christ, I hate that. Oh, I hate that freaking puppet. Chrome says, well, I guess I can negatively impact yours from it. If you want an example, I have extra money to sponsor 4 Kids One Piece and the Mayo American Cheese Cooking Stream. oh, 4 Kids One Piece. That shouldn't exist. As it says, to answer the stream question, there's a chance Trump presidency will affect my day-to-day life. As I live on Medicaid, now Elon evaluates government spending. So, lucky me. Now that's fair. But I'll tell you, Zeno, and of course my daughter is on Medicaid as well, so it's not like something that wouldn't affect me. I think, know that it's been really overstated, overblown, what Trump plans to do on social programs. And of course, too, the thing I really don't get is people panicking about now that Trump's in there going to put a national ban on abortion. And I don't want to get too sidetracked, so I don't want to address what you said. But the one on abortion especially is like, there's no conceivable way. First of all, Trump said and has made it clear from the get-go that he wanted abortion. Whether that's right or wrong, I don't even agree with this, but he wanted abortion to go back to the states. He's got what he wants. He has said if it was even pushed through Congress, a national abortion ban, he would veto it. But that's the issue. It's not ever getting through Congress. We know for a fact. I mean, the abortion issue really beat up the Republicans in 2022 and prevented them from having a bigger night on this election in 2024. It would be, to say the least, the national abortion ban would be insanely unpopular in America. And you got senators and Congress people, they wouldn't touch it. I mean, there are some extremists who would, but not nearly enough to pass anything. Yeah, exactly, Haley. Again, there was never going to be an abortion ban. It's political suicide. And you can say, well, Trump doesn't care, but Trump couldn't do that even if he wanted to, couldn't do that on his own. It would have to come through Congress. And you're, again, no way. You're not going to get any significant number of Congress people to touch something like that. Mortem says, I hear fake tan stocks have gone up 11-fold since Trump got in. We should have seen that coming and invested. But here, let me read something to you guys. Now, we got a few people in here. This will give you an idea what I'm talking about. In that video I posted, let me find it. Okay. In that video I posted about the people having meltdowns, and I'm going to post another one. I can't help it. They're kind of sad, but they crack me up too that people really allow themselves to be controlled like this. But this is what someone wrote. Okay, even though these videos may be over the top, he's talking about the people melting down. I think you're drastically undermining. I think he meant underestimating how bad things are right now for a lot of people in this country, and it seems that you just don't care because your side, quote unquote, won. I was really trying to give you the benefit of the doubt when I saw the other day you were a Trump supporter because you seem like a level-headed, decent person. I was done with him at that point anyway. That is one of the most arrogant statements you could possibly make. What the fuck do I care if you benefit my doubt? If I get the benefit of the doubt with you, like that means something of value to me. It's just like I'm sitting up here, and of course, everything I see, think, say, and do is the regal way of going about things. And you, as a plebeian, I was willing to give you the benefit of the doubt that you might not be a total mess. But it's like, I don't give a fuck if you're giving me a benefit of the doubt or not. But that said, it makes me reconsider when you say things like, what's actually going to change for anyone? When there are multiple groups in this country whose rights are actively being stripped away by the right as we speak. Who and what rights? Be specific. That's what I'm asking. I'm genuinely asking that. Who is getting their rights stripped? And of course, I responded to it asking basically just that. But I haven't heard back from this person. I seriously doubt that I will. But that's what I'm after. What are people talking about?
I'm giving you the benefit of the doubt that you aren't a bald pervert. Oh, shit.
Oh.
Wait.
Well, no, you already gave me the benefit of the doubt. Too late. No takebacks. Let's see. Arkwinder says abortion rights in red states. Okay, wait a second. I'll make sure what about abortion rights in red states? I'm not sure what you're. I'm not poo-pooing you away, Arquandra. I'm not sure what you mean. What about them? Is that what you're saying? Affecting people on a day-to-day basis? Well, you put the accurate term or the appropriate term right in there. States. Change it. Go after it at the state level. Because again, if you're in New York, if you're in California, if you're in, I'm not even sure what the numbers are. I think it's still, isn't it still a majority of states? Abortion is 100% legal. So you know it's been taken back to the state level. There's, with it having been a Supreme Court ruling with the current Supreme Court, there's no, for the foreseeable future, it's not going to change. So go at it at the state level. Oh, no, you're okay, Arquinder. I just wanted to make sure I was responding to what you were trying to say about, about rights being taken away. But again, the rights weren't taken away. They were transferred to the state. Now, if they had, which would never happen, but if they had proposed or implemented an abortion ban, then you would have had your rights taken away. But they were just sent back to the states. So if you live in a state where that isn't your right anymore, you have to work on it at the state level. Just like people are working on it or trying to work on it at a federal level, go at it where you know you can make a difference at the state level. You don't need the Supreme Court to be involved. Just get state legislators in who will do what you want to do.
How come I pee white every time I see a shirtless Curtis thumbnail?
Well, it's understandable, Nick. RJ says, I think women's rights are being stripped, but it is happening in favor of fetus rights. Doesn't seem like there's a rational discussion about it on either side. Right, and again, as I said, you didn't lose that right. It got sent back to the states, and that is a significant difference. Because for the government, for the federal government to have taken that right away from you, they would have had to implement an abortion ban. They didn't. They sent abortion rights back to each individual state. So the people need to take all this energy. And again, I am very pro-choice, but you need to take all that energy and direct it at your state representatives and work on getting the people who are preventing you from having those rights out. And I think you saw that I think North Carolina is a good example. You had this lunatic Robinson running for governor as a Republican. The things he was saying about abortion were absolutely outlandish. And that's why Trump carried the state and he got annihilated. And I think Robinson hurt the Republicans desperately down ticket. I think he destroyed Republican chances here. And a lot of that was for just the reasons we're talking about. Mackenzie says, can I join? I'm from the UK. Do you like the UK? I know Trump. I would love to go to the UK someday. I have said over and over that our UK group here has kept this channel afloat. We have a huge UK contingency. Yeah, Archinder says, yeah, Missouri did do that. Yeah, I at the state levels, abortion is a really big issue. Honestly, right now, in a lot of states, a much bigger issue than it is nationally. Because again, with Republicans controlling everything on a national level, and the Supreme Court already having ruled, there's not going to be a change in the federal government's stance on abortion anytime in the immediate future. But again, it's been thrown back to the states. You can change things at a state level. Baldur says, I'm not a Trump fan and voted for Kamala. With that said, I'm less worried about being targeted and more worried about him screwing up and affecting me in the process, such a recession. Now that's fair.
Today is World Kindness Day, apparently?
That's a fair.
Thank you, Curtis. Sorry I like to be contrarian on days like this.
I didn't know this was World Kindness Day. That's the right quote then, Sonic. I'm with you 100%. That's fair. But again, and this is my question, Baldur, what you're saying is 100% fair. If you have that concern, that's a legitimate concern. But when you have people, and this is where I'm trying to get to, the people who are literally screaming at the top of their lungs and crying and just going on and on about how they're unable to live their daily lives. What right do they think is going to be stripped away that's doing this to them? And that's what they keep telling me. Just like that post I just read to you guys said, there's people that think their rights are being taken. Now that's not, and even that is not what Baldur is talking about. Obviously isn't a right being taken away. He's afraid of mismanagement of the economy, which is a fair thing to be concerned about. Zeno, thanks for the super chat. And Zeno says, at the state level, Curtis' policy is so predictable and static that only 7 states are considered even remotely centrist. It's very hard to make any red or blue state do what they don't want. But you can say that say that same thing, Zeno, to towards the federal government, depending on who's in power at the time. That's the nature of government. But that said, that's not entirely true either, because you see states continually changing. It wasn't that long ago that Florida was purple. It wasn't that long ago that Ohio was one of the big swing states. Not anymore. We're just talking 10, 12 years ago. There was a time when Texas was not even there was not even a thought of anybody but a Republican winning there. And while the Republicans are still in control, the Democrats have made huge inroads. So no, that does shift routinely. Just because we have these 7 states as swing states right now, that doesn't mean anything for who's going to be considered a swing state in even 8 years. Zeno says exactly, which is why 2-party systems suck. Agreed, but it's not going to change here, because look at what happens. And we see it at every election, every presidential election. If you get a third-party candidate, and unfortunately, the third-party candidates I've seen in my lifetime have all been uninspiring.
And now I'm going to go ahead and be contrarian towards triple N.
Towards triple N? Oh, shit. What was I just saying, guys? That's not surprising. I forgot. Oh, shit, I lost it. Sorry about that, guys. You guys know this moment-to-moment memory. It's just gone. Shelby Wright says, I just don't think the federal or state government should have the power to take away rights. Well, it depends, though, Shelby. Is it a right that's granted by the government? I mean, when you're talking about what's enshrined is your right to life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. But I mean, if it's a right that was granted by the government, then I don't see how you make the case that a government can't take it away. I'm not a proponent of a right being taken away. Don't get me wrong. I'm just saying, in general, if it's something that's provided by the government, it could be taken away by the government. That's a good. Anytime Plankton comes in, that's good shit. Zhu Chen says, did you hear about them going after the silent influencer, in quotes? The ones that didn't vote or talk about who they voted, or they don't talk about politics and telling people to unfollow them or block them. There's been a lot of entirely unhinged activity. And now you see, these influencers on social media, and particularly the left, because the left just lost, are scrambling, obviously, to keep their interactions going, to keep the engagement going. So they're just coming up with any appointment Trump makes, they're going to try and paint it in as negative a light as possible to try and get their people charged up. However, in the larger scale, did you guys see what's happening with CNN and MSNBC? Both their ratings have tanked dramatically, and CNN has major layoffs coming, and apparently Comcast is putting MSNBC up for sale. That's pretty big. But to be honest, the vast majority of people are getting their information off of the internet, and more specifically social media now anyway. Sideground says,
I have close family
hold
that
on.
were adamant Harris supporters, and now are actually looking at houses in Spain.
Oh, jeez. Hey, and I can't fault anybody for that. If this hurts them that much and they want to move, it's probably better for them. Maybe it'll be better for their state of mind. Sideground says, I'm more concerned with tariffs and foreign relations. Bringing basic jobs back to America is a setback, not a good thing for the economy. We want more higher level jobs separate from low level jobs. Ooh, I'm having a little trouble following what you're saying. I don't understand how basic jobs coming back to America is ever a setback. I can't agree with that. I don't know what you mean by lower level jobs. Because if you're talking factory jobs, those are not lower level jobs. Historically, there are a lot of factory jobs that have been that pay quite well and have pretty significant benefits, typically better than white collar benefits. So I'm not sure what you mean there. Lex says Trump's putting Elon Musk in charge of the Department of Government Efficiency. Yeah, him and Vivek. I would say I feel sorry for your country, but you brought this on yourself. Just don't take the rest of us down with you. I guess that made them pain without the S. I'm not sure what you mean by that, though, Lex. Why are we sure that Elon being in charge of government efficiency is a bad thing? I mean, I can't agree with it because I haven't seen him perform any elements of the job yet. I don't know if he'll do a good job or a poor job at it. Yeah, I don't. Yeah, Hannibal, I don't know how jobs in America is a bad thing. Crimson Emperor said CNN went from 13 million viewers to about 5 million viewers after the election. Yeah, I see it's been really bad. I think what a lot of it is too now, after this election, obviously CNN and MSNBC, the vast majority of their audience is Democrats, is from the left. And I think a lot of people from the left are just so disappointed right now they're not engaging. Procurer of women.
I love feisty women I don't believe in. No, I will demand Amber Heard. She deserves time with Daddy after what she did to Johnny Depp.
You know, I'm his procurer of women, though, Mr. President. My history with getting women to accompany me is not good. Adam E. says, I didn't vote for Trump, but even if I did, I wouldn't have a Trump flag in my room, Trump bumper sticker, Trump t-shirt, Trump Facebook profile pic, etc. in support of the president without that insanity. Yeah. Well, you're talking about me. I voted for Trump, but yeah, I don't fly any of his colors. Herman says, Curtis says, any president made any level of impact on your everyday life that you noticed in their time in office?
With all due respect, I don't think that's going to work, Mr. President.
yeah. It was worth a shot, though. I wouldn't mind having the position, but I just wouldn't be good at it. In my life, no, not really you can see where presidents may have at least changed some of how you live your life over the course of their term. But if you're asking, has any president in my lifetime ever dramatically changed what I do as far as taking care of my family, going out, going to work every day, how I live my life? No. And it's simply because even as old as I am, and I was born in 61, as a child through the 60s and 70s, became an adult in the 80s. You already had an established situation in America where the president doesn't make a difference in, as I said, the more finer details of how I live my life. Lex says, Elon is an actual idiot who uses dad's money to buy his way into positions of power. He can't even run Twitter. You expect him to run part of the country. Well, Lex, now you're into all of your opinions there, and you're entitled to them. Oh, shoot. Hold on. Let me replay that. I didn't catch all what the president just said here.
No one said they needed to come willingly. Just get some chloroform. It's harmless. How do you think I got to Stormy Daniels?
Every time somebody talks about chloroform now, I think about that commercial, that nap time.
I voted for Trump because I was promised big titty women and propane accessories.
That's fair. Propane accessories, okay, that's cool and all. But, yeah, if people have asked how could the left have gotten my vote. Well, big titty women.
I see you do know about nap time, Mr. President.
Oh, exactly, Sonic. That's what it makes you think of right away. Let's see. Because it's North Americans hate us British because of abuse of power. But that was years ago. The Americans need to get over that. Not all of them, especially you, Curtis. Wink, wink. I don't feel that at all, though, Mackenzie. I mean, as somebody who lives here, I mean, majority of us are Americans. Do you guys see a lot of negative feelings towards the British? I don't. I never sense that here. No, I don't know, Mackenzie. I think you're getting a wrong vibe. And if it were there, I'd be glad to tell you, yeah, I don't understand why people are like that, blah, blah, blah. But I don't really feel that vibe. Generally, especially like the UK and Japan are the areas, the countries I think that I hear spoken of most highly as people, wanting to be able to visit or go back again. And so I'm not sure why you feel that way. Dragon, thanks for the super chat, Dragon. And Dragon says people need to realize that identity politics and vilifying half a country doesn't win votes. Right? No, you're right with that. You're right. Well, I was saying all along, and you guys are in streams with me, and so it's not hindsight. It's not me revising history. I kept saying if the Democrats' angle in that election, this past election, is going to be Trump bad, they're going to lose because everybody knows what Trump is. No matter how many bad things they could dig up about him, no matter how many horrible things they could bring either from his past or just what they think will be his future, it's not going to matter. People already know what he's like. You have to give everybody a better option from purely a platitude stance. And the cost of groceries is basically what hurt the Democrats more than anything else. Nectar. Did Trump winning the election change my day-to-day life? Well, personally, my dick grew 2 extra inches and I'm not even a U.S. citizen. Wait a second. I missed out on that then. You mean I could have been packing 4? Somebody owes me.
Wolverine asked me, Gordon, how do you kill and cook vegans? Serves them right for not enjoying meat. Are you daft? You don't kill vegans. You feed them to impress a vegan. First, you saute some top-notch seasonal veggies in olive oil.
We're going to get another one of these
a touch of salt,
Gordon Ramsay real long
some quinoa
recipes.
Or lentils for substance. Finally finish with a splash of lemon juice or balsamic vinegar for zing. Even vegans deserve a dish done right. Not that tasteless rubbish you tried before.
Okay, guys, everybody write that down, that recipe. Jill says, my personal policy is to expect for the best but prepare for the worst. Good policy to have in general. That helps me sleep at night knowing that I keep a positive attitude while being prepared as much as possible for the worst. That's an excellent...
The fuck up.
And there's Bender. No matter who's in power, I think that's an excellent approach to life in general. Mr. Croissant says, also for me, laws in place like Texas incriminating people who flee
what
Texas.
does a platypus have to do with anything, Curtis?
Platitude, Patrick.
What animal is that?
Well, yeah, I knew what animal was that was coming. Laws in place like Texas incriminating people who flee Texas for gender-affirming care is what bothers me. I also have family that's of Arab descent, and that's a whole can of worms.
That's on the left that called me a monster for going out of my way to watch people scream and cry on TikTok talk so I can point and laugh. I see nothing wrong with that.
I don't know why you'd be a monster. These people are willingly posting it.
Just a Trumper.
Because you know what I'm saying? I mean, these people are choosing to post this stuff. Preferer. It's still funny watching these people overreacting. I don't know why that stopped on you, Nick, to something like this. the text to speech just kind of ran out of gas. I don't know what you mean. I'm not familiar with what you're talking about, Mr. Croissant. Incriminating people how? I mean, I'm not doubting you. I just don't know what you mean. For gender affirming care, for leaving Texas for gender affirming care, I don't know how they're being incriminated. Also, a family that's of Arab descent, and that's a whole can of worms. Well, a family that's of Arab descent is, as you saw, a huge chunk of the Arab population in places like Minnesota abandoned the Democrats altogether in this election. Some of them voted for Trump. A lot of them just voted third party. They wouldn't support Kamala. It gave up. Yeah, it did. That was weird. Nick was just trying to get his thoughts across, and text-to-speech said no. Let's see. Jazzmaster says, retro gaming, simplistic porn is a huge factor in male depression because they're so lonely and desperate. Oh, you're answering retro gaming. So lonely and desperate, they can't have anyone. They have to resort to porn. It's very damaging.
Trump, you will fail. Like last term. I feel another White House riot will happen.
Eat my shorts, Trump? Wow. Bart went at him.
Shut the fuck up, Bender. I'm trying to set off an entire tank of propane in my ass. No homo. Don't you dare kink shame me. Daddy loves propane and propane accessories. I even have nipple clamps. They're Texan nipple clamps, so they're as big as a black cock. No homo.
They can't. So, porn is a huge factor in male depression. Because they're so lonely and desperate, they can't have any women. They have to resort to porn. That's very damaging.
Where was I during this time?
Where did that come from? At least you got to state your whole sentence that time, Nick. Very where are we getting this from? Now that porn is very damaging to lonely, desperate people.
I'm not gonna kink shame ya, but I will steal your propane to make a new batch of Fent.
Of course you would, Bender. Yeah, I didn't catch all of that conversation that was being had, but that's an interesting take from me. Hitler and Mussolini also privatized industries. I don't know. I assume I'm coming in the middle of something there. Kanan says, if Trump can make good on his promise to make overtime non-taxable, hopefully I'll be able to buy a house in 3 years. That would be cool. To be honest, I won't expand on it too much because I really don't understand the ins and outs of how that would work. I don't know what kind of a hit that would be financially to the government. I don't know, how much of the income tax base is comprised of overtime pay.
Hank, why? No.
A result of overtime pay.
Not even a little homo.
Got to be a little, right?
As a treat. You know what I'm not asking anymore. Get your pants off. I'll show you.
A real propane accessory?
Propane accessory.
There you go. So in more positive news, how does it feel knowing the long dark shadow of Baki will finally leave you in 4 more episodes in the light of the One Piece Link journey of Pokemon begins soon? At least this final fight in Baki is entertaining. And I will say this, Baki's dialogue has picked up. It's been funny. This whole last arc here, his dialogue's been funny. King Lacey says if he goes after the ACA and tries to cut Medicare and Medicaid and Social Security, I don't see any indicators. Project 2025 has nothing to do with Trump's platitudes that he's going to go after Medicare, Medicaid, and Social Security. I think it would be foolish to go after the ACA without a replacement in place or a replacement to be put in place. Even if not a specific program, well, yeah, it'd still be a specific program. As I say, a specific means for helping people who are needing in the area of healthcare. I've always had my own ideas. I think tying it to employment is good, and having that portion of the society taken care of. But that's something for a whole different stream, because that's a really long, involved thing. I don't want to get too much into that right now. Dr. Catspaw, thanks for the super chat, pal. Says, I think the British are cool. When we're jumping into a dumpster fire, Britain was a ride or die friend and did Brexit. Yeah, I will say though, I was surprised to hear that. And you never know what somebody overseas gets as a feel for what we're thinking over here. But no, I rarely hear anything negative about the Brits. Let's see. CJP says, random topic. Have you seen Nintendo? Well, I just lost you. Where'd you go? Every once in a while, this just jumps on me, and I sorry about that, pal. I started reading it, and something just, like the chat jumped up, and I lost it. Jill's got a super chat, and Jill says, do not underestimate the common people's plight. Always resist. I hope my American neighbors resist whatever bad happens and organize moving forward. What common people's plight are we talking about, though, Jill? I'm not sure what you mean. That's what I'm saying. I hear a lot of generalities, and I'm asking this in good faith. I mean, what plight? What plight are we talking about that needs resistance? That's the conversation I actually want to have. Again, I'm not poo-pooing it away. That's a genuine, legitimate question. Let's see. Saigon says, making Ukraine give up land is not peaceful. Well, let's wait and see how the negotiations go. I have no idea what is in store for negotiations there. Let's wait and see and find out. Kaiser says, so is there any credibility to the left thinking America will become the Handmaid's Tale, or is it paranoia? Like, is there any plans or bills in the long run? No. Nectar says, Curtis, do you think about the argument that Democrats get the vote of the educated people? I think it's partially because colleges have been indoctrinating people into progressive ideology. Well, sure. I mean, obviously, anybody who a majority of people who come through the college system, and this bears out in numbers. I mean, when you go through most schools, most colleges in this country, but particularly any large city schools or high-profile universities, and they will post the staff, the entire staff's donations, political donations. It's always
drinking ugly fat racist losers.
It was always way left. So yes, that definitely comes into play. I'm sorry. Let me play that.
I can't stand the British bunch of yellow teeth having shit food, eating tea, drinking ugly fat racist losers.
And you guys will never guess where Alex is from. Austin says, isn't Trump in negotiations with President Putin to make peace with Ukraine? I remember in a video he said he'll have the war negotiation in Ukraine 24 hours, and he actually did. Let's wait and see. And again, that's something that, regardless of being a Trump voter or not, let's wait and see. That was a hell of a boast. Let's see what he can come up with there. That's a wait and see thing. It would certainly be great if we could work something out there and stop people from dying. But let's hold off and see what happens there.
Licks is from Argentina, final answer.
Thanks, Bender. Big Purple Pop says, is it weird all the identity politics made the left marketing feel more racist than Trump's past to me? Bernie would have swept, by the way. You think so? I don't think so. As soon as you can, and Bernie is a democratic socialist, but at least in this country right now, If you attach the word socialist to anyone, I don't think they can win a national election. I just don't see it happening. Joe says these days you are considered an optimist if you believe that the world will continue to spin. Sad but true, Joe. Sad but true. Nectar says, I went to a Canadian university for my master's degree 2 years and couldn't believe the amount of propaganda into global warming, equality, feminism, etc. And I was studying engineering. Now that's my understanding of how things go in, it seems, most major universities.
I think Licks is Italian.
All right, Patrick. Excuse me. Mr. Croissant says, as an American,
God,
I'm under
I
obligation.
wish I was Italian, Patrick.
There you go, Patrick. It's a dream for GLaDOS. Where was it? Shit, I was just starting to read one that this chat isn't obeying me today. I put it on pause and it continues to move down anyway. Damn it. Haley says, I wouldn't worry about it too much. We're like 1,000 years overdue for an ice age anyway. The great equalizer. Excuse me. Sorry, guys. Lemony Shift says, it's past 24 hours. Putin responded by showing news of Trump's wife on TV, denying any phone happened with Trump, and placed 50,000 more troops on the border of Ukraine. Not looking good yet. Wait a second. Is all that true? I haven't seen any of that, Lemony Shift. I never know if somebody's joking around here or that all doesn't sound out of the realm of possibility. David says, Putin is just puffing his chest out, constantly threatening nukes. You hear the North Korean soldiers in Ukraine? Yeah, I did. Putin's in a spot where that's really the only card of significance he has to play is threatening the nukes, because let's be fair, he went into Ukraine thinking it was going to be it was something that was just going to take him a few days. Needless to say, it didn't go well, and his field troops or Russia's might in a ground war have been really exposed. So the only thing he has left as far as a threat that'll get anybody's attention is nukes. Saigon says Trump has already proved his allegiance to himself over the country when he tried to steal the election in 2020 through the use of fake electorates and pressuring Pence. The man in power scares me. Well, if the man in power scares you, I mean, that's certainly your right to be afraid. He doesn't scare me. He would have never... And is that messed up that he would even be thinking that way? Yes. Does it surprise me? No. We know what an egomaniac he is. And there will always be enough adults in the room that I don't worry about him getting away with anything along those lines. It's like I say, too, we're talking about the abortion issue. One of the reasons why you would never see a national abortion ban, as I said, is you would have too many people like me who voted for Trump and lean right, and you would just lose us. That's a major no-go. And sending it back to the states, again, I didn't agree with the Supreme Court overturning it just because it was law of the land. And if you read what all the legal scholars had to say about it, it was certainly an issue that could go either way. So given that, leave it alone. But if you took that next step and just tried to make it illegal, now you've even lost people like me, because that's a government overreach. And that's saying a lot for me. That would outweigh everything else. The one thing I can stay consistent on is I don't like government overreach. And that would be it to the extremes. And again, the politicians, the Congress people, the people in Congress know that. And they're not going to lose their seats. I don't either. Totally Awesome says, I'm not sure if NATO will exist if the U.S. pulls out of it. I don't either. Between financially and, of course, just militarily, what the U.S. brings to it, I don't know. Let's see. Sagron says, it also scared me that his right-hand man, Elon Musk, is one of the most pervasive liars on the internet, pushing insane propaganda, misleading people, and controlling the largest social media. Again, he's not alone there. It's the vast majority of people who are on Twitter X are batting for one team or the other and sending out half-truths, non-truths, total garbage. It goes on all the time. You're more threatened by Elon? That's how you feel. I don't know what I can tell you. Kaiser says, in Ireland we had the government trying to implement restrictive hate speech laws. Luckily, the Irish people shut it down for now. That's an actual threat to free speech democracy. I've said many times, that's a red line for me as well. I don't care what, outside of what's already illegal speech, you can't call for harm to others. You can't directly call for anyone else to be harmed or things along those lines. But anything else, even hate speech should not be illegal speech. There's a lot of hate in the world. Let people tell you who they are, and then at least you know who you're dealing with. But to say that, I don't care if it's directed at me. If somebody hates me, whatever, they have every right to say whatever it is about me they hate. But things like that are too easy for me because I just don't care. If your opinion, if you're not somebody close to me, why would I care what your opinion is of me? And by that I mean you guys. I mean, we've been friends here forever. Whenever one of you guys has something, and it's happened many times, has a question for me or a concern about me or something I've said, done, I address it because you're friends. But to randoms on the internet, what do I care what they think? Excuse me, guys, I completely forgot to post today's videos. Again, I was going to do it right before the stream. So it only takes me a minute. We've got Family Guy, TNTL over at Grandpa Curtis. But it is better to wait till after we stream to post the video because better chance of us getting notifications on the stream. All right, and Spaz Boys. What? Hold on. You guys will like to see this.
As a friend, your head is not as shiny as usual. I don't like that.
I'll buff that up for you, Sonic. That's no problem. Hold on, guys. I'm going into YouTube on this channel, on Spaz Boys channel. I've had this channel for over 13 years. We have over 300,000 subscribers. We stream pretty much every day. And I just got this popped up when I went to open it. My hard work is paying off. Earning with Super Chat starts here. Go live and engage with fans. I've been going live literally since YouTube offered live streaming as a service. And this is how much YouTube keeps track of who we are as individual YouTubers. What the fuck, you guys? And a lot of you guys know that. A lot of you guys have been with me since that time. We've been streaming here since you could stream on YouTube, and yet YouTube still gives me pop-ups giving me encouragement and advice as if this were my first day.
Well, engage with us.
I know, right? I got pressured, Hal. YouTube knows I bow to peer pressure. I don't want YouTube to be my peer. Let's see. Here today is a daily dose of internet videos. I love those. Those are so good. Okay, we're all set there. Yeah, Shelby Wright says, "Hey Curtis, I know you're doing a live right now, but did you know you could go live?"
Tangia is best have a puppet.
Oh shit! And you said have a puppet, and it still made me jump shit. Kaiser says, the thing about the extreme left think boomer conservatives will now opt to start lynching the LGBT community. The irony is the conservative boomer community would likely be appalled if it happened. Oh, well, sure, I would certainly think so. I would certainly hope so. I know a lot of times in the LGBT community, too, there's, at least from my perspective, I am against trans women competing against biological women. I don't think it's fair for a number of reasons. We've been over it before. But because of that, doesn't mean that outside of that, that's one issue. That somehow I don't support people in the LGBTQ community to just be whoever they want to be. I do. I just, Freddie. It's just I don't agree that that's fair. But that's what, I know what you're saying. Then you get people on the extreme left because you take that stance. It's like, well, you hate us all. You don't want us to exist. And it gets tiresome. Hold on, let me replay that.
I agree Bendertangia is best.
Have a bear. Oh, okay. So I didn't even hear the have a bear, and then that freaking bear got me. Totally awesome says, funny, YouTube gives you the notification every time I watch your stream. I'm watching my back right now. We should all be watching our back with Google without a question. CJP says, I would hope most people would be appalled by lynching in general. Yes, let's hope. David says, me too. I think most conservatives probably don't mind LGBTQ more live and let live. Yeah, I don't. How somebody else decides to live their life as far as who they want to be or who they want to marry or have sex with or do whatever they want with, it doesn't affect me. Don't bother me. No, absolutely. The side ground says the extreme left does not represent the Democratic Party. That's why I specifically say the extreme left when I talk about things like that. You have maybe two politicians like AOC. Meanwhile, every single person in Trump's camp are extreme liars and snake oil salesmen. Well, see, you had me halfway, and then you outed yourself in the second half. Because absolutely what you're saying is true. The extreme left is not the entire Democratic Party, and the extreme right is not the entire Republican Party, but you're showing that you're a man of taking sides, is what you're saying. Because, of course, that's not true. Jill says on the right side, I don't expect any violence at the Capitol on January 6th next year. What is it? 20th, I think it is this year. I think you'll see some protests. Obviously, I don't think you'll see violence. I think they will. I'll be surprised if the left doesn't, which isn't, listen, protesting is as American as baseball, hot dogs, and apple pie. So as long as it doesn't break into any sort of violence, good for them. But I do think you'll see protests, but that'll be it. Marty says the real trick is to remove identity politics and focus on issues. My day-to-day doesn't change because I know I'm going to be stuck in the dead-end job I'm in regardless of who's running what. And
genuine question. I want to develop a game for a game jam. But I'm split on a concept. Should I make a small Metroidvania about a small devil taking over hell, or a ladybug defending a garden?
I think the ladybug thing sounds more original. Yeah, and that's the thing, Marty. I think, as I've said, and that's what I was genuinely asking here. Because you see people freaking out that way. I'm really curious what they think the change is going to be in their day-to-day life.
Why did Bender scream like that damn near gave me a heart attack?
Well, at least, Bender's our boy. He's a little special, Sonic. You know that. Sideground says Trump is literally pushing people like RFK, Vivek, Elon Musk, Vance. These people are all extreme. No, they're not. Not to mention all the crooks from the previous administration who are in jail or ran away from Trump. Particularly Vivek. They're only extreme to you because you're over here and they're over here. They're on the right side. So you see them as extreme because they don't agree with you. But to call those people extremists is absolutely false. It's just not true. If that's the case, using those same standards as relation to center, then Kamala was an extremist too. Because she's as far to the left as is Vivek, Elon. RFK is a different being altogether, but Lex says the left will do a picket sign and megaphone protest. Whereas, usually a march, Lex. They're going to start breaking into buildings and fighting people like those other guys. Well, the only problem the left runs into is not their own fault a lot of times, because what happens here, Lex, is they'll organize a march, and like you say, protest signs, megaphones. But because they organize them well, the people that want to do harm and want to go rip through Target and steal some TVs and some sneakers will hijack that protest as a way of doing that. That's where the problem comes in. And again, even as somebody on the right, I feel for them because it's like they have to take the heat for that. And the bad actors see those protests or those marches as the opportunity to do the stupid shit. Let's see. Jill says politics is about how they structure the society they live in. Who has control matters. True. Absolutely. Who has control matters. But it matters especially nowadays, in a very broad sense. And we all know that change is typically laboriously slow. That's why my question is to the people freaking out. That's why I'm so specific about it. What do people think is going to happen that's going to change their life on the day-to-day? When you wake up on January, he's inaugurated the 20th. So when you wake up on January 21st, how has your life significantly changed? That's what I'm trying to get to. And again, it's just because a lot of these people that are freaking out, that's what they're saying. They can't bear to live their lives now. And I'm just curious what changes at the very essence of their being. Totally awesome says that sometimes extreme is correct too. Decisions should be made based on compassion and evidence, not how we feel about them. Definitely evidence. The problem you have when you add a word like compassion into it is everybody has a different definition. Oh, hold on a second. I missed that. What the hell was that one?
If those kids could read, they'd be very upset.
That's a pretty good one. I hadn't seen that one before. I like that one. Let's see. Jill Snack says, in addition to healthcare and abortion, Trump is going to put a 60% universal tariff on China, 10 to 20% on, and now whether or not you agree with whether it will work, the idea there is to get companies to bring the manufacturing back to America. And when he's been talking about these tariffs, he's been talking about putting the tariffs on in place of income tax. But in general, the idea is if it costs, those tariffs will absolutely raise prices in the short run. Then you hope to bring the manufacturing back to America. So as Americans, if that's true, what you have to ask yourself is, are you willing to pay a little more for products to bring more manufacturing and more jobs back into America, and hopefully that cycle of the economy makes it all come out in the wash, as it were. But yes, that's the idea. Healthcare and abortion, in addition, I don't know what you mean. Again, I don't know what you mean, Jill, about in addition to what about abortion and healthcare? As I said, with healthcare, if he's thinking about getting rid of Obamacare, he should have something else lined up. You guys have to remember, too, Obamacare didn't help everybody. And people like to forget about some that fall through the cracks. There's a smaller but significant portion of people who ended up getting absolutely ravaged by healthcare costs because they fell between the cracks of Obamacare. Sideground says, really? Yes, really. How do you know anything, or just repeat the propaganda you've heard, my guy, please? Dude, you're the biggest propagandist on here. The sad thing is you're so far gone to the left, you can't see it. Vivek has not said anything outrageous. He's said things that are based in conservative principle. Democrats want to replace white people. Climate change is a hoax. I don't recall Vivek ever saying Democrats want to replace white people. I'd want to hear the whole quote if you're coming up with it. Then maybe Obama didn't care enough. But dude, you're as extreme as it gets. You're going to be upset with anybody who tilts to the right of center. That's just who you are. And it's okay to be that. Hannibal says, my dad lost his job due to Obamacare, so not the biggest fan. Oh, shit, Hannibal. Excuse me. Sorry, guys. Alex says, I think my biggest... Hey, Alex, good to see you, pal. Alex is a very, very good friend of mine, and Alex is a Democrat. I think my big takeaway from the election is a clear difference in strategy. Republicans did a much better job of telling the public what they were going to do to help them, even if it's not all true. I think you're right, Alex, too. And as I said earlier, I think the big mistake the Democrats made, and I was saying it as we were going through it, was too much Trump is bad as the headline of everything they did. People know Trump is bad. People know Trump's a douche. People know the things everybody knows about January 6th. They kept pushing that. It's like, you're not going to make any new inroads with that. Everybody's aware. And people were just upset how much groceries were costing them. They wanted you to talk about that. They don't care that Orange Man is bad. We all know that. I agree with you, Alex. It was bad messaging. You're just, if Trump was an unknown, that might have been an effective strategy. But everybody knows who he is. Toodles case. That's what I thought I remembered too. Toodles K. Vivek says the climate crisis was overblown, not that climate isn't gradually changing. Right. And I know a lot of people on the right, and again, you have some scientists that back them up, say that what we're seeing is climate change, but it's natural climate change that has taken place throughout the history of the planet. So, I mean, that's an opinion he's certainly entitled to. ZZ Gaming says, it will benefit my life financially. Other than that, no. I think people should pay more attention to local and regional elections as they represent your county, city, and state. Yeah, that's an excellent point, Gaming, and a really big deal. People just don't get interested. And you would think, especially now with the abortion issue being pushed back on the states, you would think that would get more people thinking on a more local level. But so far, it seems like the big push is to push back on the federal government because the Supreme Court did send it back to the state. And that's not going to work out for them.
Unfortunately prolonged fart of a lot of toxic ideas and culture that will hopefully fall by the wayside following his relatively imminent passing from the scene. The disgust generated by him and what he represents to most of the younger generations may portend a positive change for decades to come.
It'd be interesting to see. Surprisingly, Jill, he did much better with young people than he had in the past. Significantly better, especially young men. The numbers went up, as I say, outside of, I think if I'm remembering right, I believe the only group he increased his reach with more were Hispanics, and specifically Hispanic men, if I'm remembering it right. Oh, Chrome says, oof, and the losses just keep piling up for CNN. Hold on, guys. I want to check Chrome's link. What happened now? Breaking. A federal appeals court has ordered CNN to stand trial in a defamation lawsuit involving James O'Keefe and Project Veritas. Oh boy. Yeah, things are not going well at CNN. I don't know if last I saw they didn't give out the specifics, but they're saying that the layoffs are going to be significant. And as I said, MSNBC is up for sale. But I believe too, as I had said earlier, I think that's just a case of obviously their audience is people on the left. And right now, people on the left are just like detaching from the news and everything. It's almost like a period of mourning type thing. You know, it was a pretty significant beatdown in an election. Everybody's trying to regather themselves. The last thing they want to do is watch the news. So that, considering that outside of election season, their ratings already were in trouble, both of them, CNN and MSNBC, it makes for tough times. Haley says, I will reiterate, he did better because he isn't bad. Every story about him gets debunked, whether it be a day or 4 to 8 years later. It's all fake. People are waking up. Well, I will say this, Haley. Certainly he gets a lot of untruths told about him. But being a native New Yorker, you know, we've known Trump for years. And as far as personality, I think he's a douche. So I think that's fair. And I think he is one of the, if not the most purely ego-driven person I've ever seen. Now, again, I vote for him because his policies more adequately align with my own, or accurately align with my own. But no, he's, as a person, not a guy I would want to hang out with or anything. All these people, excuse me. All of these people, Ground says, lie about the border too. We had a bill to fix the border, but Trump refused to endorse it even when his party wanted to, just so they had a problem to complain about and run out. Nope. Again, absolutely 100% disagree with you. That border bill was dog shit. It included all kinds, it was allowing how many millions to come in every year. It was talking about amnesty for those that were in. To me, a border bill says, if you're in and this is now Trump has won, and a lot of that was on the strength of his stance on the border. He didn't like that bill for just the reasons you're seeing now. He's going to have people who are in the country illegally removed from the country. And that border bill did nothing of the sort. Nothing of the sort. It was full of amnesty. It was still allowing for massive numbers to come in, but it had to be capped at a certain number. So you were able to get some Republicans who were trying to look for some sympathy with upcoming elections, sympathy from the center getting on board with it, not because it was a complete border bill, but because it was a border bill. But 100% that was a dog shit bill, and I'm entirely glad they didn't entertain it. In some ways, yeah, in some ways his ego has benefited him, without a doubt. Well, it's hurt him and it's helped him. I think without that massive ego, no, he probably wouldn't have won this. Without that massive ego, he wouldn't have even run again, to be fair. Yes, and it also included funding for the Ukraine. Yes, it did, Chrome, for Ukraine. Mortem says, going on Joe Rogan definitely helped. Yeah, I think it did too. He's living in the 21st century. He's up to date with the times. That one was really befuddling to me why Kamala didn't go on Rogan. Because Rogan reaches exactly, precisely the audience she needed to appeal to. Excuse me. I don't know if she just didn't feel confident enough in herself. I know that when they were even talking about it, that he had to come to her and she was going to limit it to 1 hour, and she's putting her parameters on everything. And the limiting it to 1 hour just tells me she wasn't comfortable in that situation. But man, he appealed to the demographic they both needed. I was shocked she wouldn't do it. Alex says immigration is clearly an issue, just hoping we don't see an overcorrection disaster and children separated in camps again. We shall see. Trying to be optimistic. Yeah, I am. You would certainly hope that there is a hierarchy for doing it. I mean, again, you would want to believe that we're going to start with people who are here illegally and have committed crimes. You know, especially there's a lot of them already in the system. Send them out. And then you would hope that it can be done as humanely as possible. But the thing of it is, if you came into the country illegal, if you go into anybody's nation illegally, I don't really see how you can have a huge complaint if you're removed, because you know you came in illegally. You came in without permission. So I don't see where you really have firm ground to stand on saying that, wow, this is unfair to me. Do you know what I'm saying at all? Mortem says, anyone want to get beers? Haley says, Kamala didn't go on Rogan because she wasn't a serious candidate. The campaign was a Ponzi scheme. They spent $500 million on staff wage. Oh, that was $1 billion they had, and they overspent. But they put on those big productions, those big concerts and everything. See, that's where I think just a lot of the campaigning, I think, was poorly done. Things like that. Those concerts she did, I don't think had anywhere near the reach she could have gotten out of a Rogan interview. What does he have for Spotify listeners, guys? 40 million, I think I heard. And that Trump interview, that had done like 20 million in a little over 24 hours. What better way to get everything you want to say out there? That was a really, really big missed opportunity, I believe. Kaiser says, whether you like Trump, hate him, find him to be an asshole or not, it does make you think. A lot of TV characters who are huge egotistical assholes we love, we'd probably hate in real life. Yeah, you're probably right. You're probably right. Chrome says, I think the big problem is, jumped up on me. You can't guarantee these people are actually the kids' parents and not human traffickers. I know that's been, I know just in interviews I've seen and articles I've read about border security, they say that's a big issue for them too, because you don't really know who's accompanying these children. Yeah. And you can see why that would be such a mess. How would you be able to track it? And the kids, they've got them, I'm sure, terrified into saying whatever they need them to say.
That makes me think she doesn't like cake.
How can anybody not like cake? Damn, Sonic. 11 million listeners per episode? I must be just thinking his subscriber count. That's crazy, though. 11 million per episode? Oh. And that wouldn't have cost her campaign anything other than her travel time. Where's he recorded? Austin, I think it is. That other than her travel time. Wow. That one really confused me. Min Young Joe says, I don't care what party is in office. CEO should not be in charge of a federal department. Why is that? If somebody has demonstrated an ability to effectively run a major corporation and they're an intelligent individual, they're someone who has in the line of their business, in their work as a CEO, if they've shown themselves to be level-headed, successful, and a good decision maker, why? Yeah, I see she was dead set against going to Texas. I'm not sure. I just was my opinion at the time and still is. I think she just missed a huge opportunity there. And again, all that money they spent on those concerts and stuff, and you didn't get nearly the reach you could have gotten from Rogan. And I do think he was honest. If you want, if you listen to Joe Rogan's podcast, if you watch, and I rarely have time to watch a whole podcast, but I listen to him in clips on the regular. He does. I think he was genuine in that he kept saying, I'm not looking to gotcha. I just want to get to know you. And that's generally how Rogan does his podcast, his interviews. So I think he was genuine. I don't think there's anything for her to have been concerned about. I don't think he was going to try and snipe her or anything. I think the guy was genuinely just wanting to talk to her. Cookies over cake for me, look fun, says. Min Young Joe says you should not be able to have both the company and the department at the same time. You can't. You can't. By depending if you are running a and there are rules about it. Okay, if you are running a department that has been vetted, is not the word, but basically it says what I mean. Has been vetted through Congress, a U.S. government department, and you're running it. You have to divest yourself from your company, from your corporations. He can put Musk in charge of his new division because that hasn't been sent through Congress. That's not an official department within the United States government. That is something that is basically being served at the behest of the president as an informational thing. But there are laws regarding exactly what you're talking about. Exactly. Chrome says Elon is on board as an advisor. He's not running it. And as I said, it doesn't matter until a department gets verified through Congress anyway. Elon's thing is unofficial. Right, exactly, Hannibal. But you're right, Min Young Joe. That wouldn't be right. That's why we have rules against it.
We shall call it Yamate Daddy. Sama, stop groping my anime titties. That shit will fly over so well.
Good old Jesse.
I'll be able to make Elon Musk look poor. Now time to watch Caillou. I feel far that kid, like Mr. White.
Good old Caillou.
He has stage 69. Everything cancer. Yeah, science bitches.
You gotta put bitches in there if you're gonna do text to speech. As Jesse. Mintman, thanks for the super chat, pal. And Mintman says, Trump said I'd be able to do the Kamehameha. 1 week later and nada. I want my money back. We can't do the Kamehameha? Oh, I'm not going to try it right now because I just assumed I could now. If I can, I'm going to be all depressed and it's going to ruin the stream. I'll be all cryy and everything. I better be able to do it. No, you're just kidding, Mintman. We can do it. There is a Jesse TTS. I didn't either, Big Green, but that was pretty cool. We did hear it at least once before because I remember saying the same thing. Whoever put it up, I don't know if it was Wolverine or who, but whoever used it did make sure and throw bitch in at the end. Min Young Joe says, afraid Musk and Trump will push to change that law. The new bill failed to reach 2/3 majority earlier, so I'm not completely doom and gloom, but worried for a lot of things. You lost me on the second part there, Min Young Joe, but Musk and Trump won't need to change that law. If Musk stays on as an advisor, or if it's just basically a department, and I read about this earlier, and you guys know how bad my memory is, but if it's a department that's just serving at the behest of the president to give the president information, they don't have to do it. If it becomes an official department of the U.S. government by running through Congress, then it's a different story. More than votes for chocolate cake. Mm-hmm. Leo Duke Music says Trump just won the House, yep, and now has control over all three branches of government. This is why people have been panicking. Yeah, but again, I don't know. I get some people have made good points here. Some people are just afraid of the economy. They think he's going to be bad for the economy. Legitimate concern. But as far as I said, and that's why I was specific in the title, as far as the people freaking out about, their lives being in danger and everything, I'm just curious what people were seeing as this real clear and present danger in their day-to-day life. Excuse me. King of Isis Hyuga says the Supreme Court should have term limits. It's not right that one man who only has 4 to 8 years can affect laws for 40 years. Yeah, I mean, I'm kind of torn on the term limits issue. You can make a stronger case for it in the Supreme Court. I'm not for aging out. I don't think that's fair because people's mental decline, if it takes place at all, takes place at different times. But you can make a case for term limits on the Supreme Court. When we start talking term limits for Congress, I completely understand why people want them. But the thing that's always bothered me about that a little is we have term limits for Congress. It's called votes. Every so often they have to come up for re-election. So my take on that has always been, if people were unhappy with the job they were doing, we already have a means of removing them. But you're right, with Supreme Court justices, no, it's a lifetime appointment. Yeah, I mean, yeah, you can make a strong case for that. Austin says, what do you think Kamala will do now? I don't think she'll get party backing on a national level again. If she wants to stay in politics in California, I think she could do well there. And again, this is just my opinion. But because of the way all of this ended up going down, I don't think she'll get her party's push for anything on a national level. Unless it was maybe she goes back to California as a senator or something. But I don't think you'll see her as a presidential candidate again. Haley says, unfortunately, Trump doesn't rule the Senate. They voted an anti-Trump warmongers majority. Who won the majority leader vote? I haven't seen. I've been streaming, Haley. I knew that was going on when I started the stream. They were still voting. Who won that? Chrome said, I get that, but the number of government officials dying in office lately is concerning, by the way. John Fetterman is being floated for 2020. It is, but you got to put that back on the people around them, too, like what happened with Dianne Feinstein. That was disgusting. That they just kept literally wheeling her into Congress. Instead of just, because you could see that her mind was gone. Instead of just telling her, okay, it's time to move on because it was better for them for political expediency. And that's not throwing stones at the Democrats. Republicans will do the exact same thing to hold on to a seat. A lot of people talking about Fetterman. That would be the good call if the Democrats want to try and go with a Democrat who they feel can appeal to some people, kind of like me, that lean right, but also I'm an independent because I have too many beliefs that go back and forth across the board. So he'd be a good pick in that way, because you're certainly never going to call anybody who calls Fetterman extreme left has absolutely no idea who Fetterman is. So John Thune, did he? I had heard, Haley, a lot of people were thinking it was going to be him. That'll be interesting. Chrome says Feinstein, RBG, John McCain dragging himself out of his deathbed, screws constituents. There's a lot. That's what I mean. That's unfortunate, and I believe that is really on the people around them, because they're all getting advice to stay in and stay in the fight.
Elon Musk in the government. Hope he won't do design for military equipment. Still laughing at this Cybertruck fiasco.
The aesthetics, yeah.
Also, RFK Jr. in charge of healthcare. Dream team.
Yeah, RFK is not somebody. I've got a lot of questions about him. Musk in the position they gave to him, I don't have a lot of issue with that. You're right. Let's not leave him in charge of aesthetics. I agree, and I love the Tesla line. But that Cybertruck is some ugly shit right there. Yeah, I agree with you on that one. let's not have him in the design room. Let's put it that way. Hannibal says, I voted Republican for every race except for a local Dem police chief. I would consider Fetterman. Yeah. Now, the question with Fetterman, guys, would be, and I know we got Democrats in here, do you think that the left wing of the Democrat Party would ever allow that to happen, for them to run Fetterman for president with as close to center as he is? I just don't know if he could, if that would happen. I will say this, if Fetterman had run as a Democrat against Trump, I think he probably would have won. But obviously, you're not going to be running against Trump in 2028, so the playing field changes again. Andrew says, what do you think of Gavin Newsom's work? I don't think Newsom would have a chance nationally. He's so far left, and there are so many things they can point to that have gone wrong in California or just go against the taste of a majority of Americans that I don't think Newsom has a chance. Nectar says, gotta go. Nice to see your life wasn't ruined by the electric curtain. See you later. Well, thanks, Nectar. Thanks for being in while you could. We'll talk to you again. Let's see. Corthus says there's no way in hell the left will let anyone closer to center represent them. That's what I'd be afraid of, Corthus. Because I think Fetterman would do quite well. Because, again, of winning over true independents and even people like me. I'll be honest with you. I would give Fetterman a real look. Because with Fetterman, and I'll tell you exactly why, even though I lean right, I've told you guys over and over, my number one priority is I will not vote for someone who I think is more likely to take more of our money just so the government can redistribute it, because I think that's a recipe for disaster. I don't think Fetterman is somebody who would do that in any way, shape, or form. So I would, depending on if Fetterman was the Democrat candidate in 2028, I would have to look real hard at who the Republicans put forth. I would definitely consider him. You think Fetterman will get stomped? Oh, I disagree, Chrome. I think he had a better chance of getting stomped in his own party than he does in a general election. In his own party, I think he'd have a real difficult time getting through primaries because they're going to say he's not progressive enough. And it's true, he's not super progressive. So I think that would be his biggest hurdle. I think he'd do quite well in a general. Turbo Chief said he didn't do anything. However, did he? Oh, okay, so it must be. I don't know what you're talking about. Yeah, Cortha says he'd definitely be more likely to get the cross-party voters. Yeah, like I said, I think he would do quite well nationally. I don't think he'll be able to get through the primaries. I don't think he can get enough support in his own party. Now, put it this way: if for some reason he did get through, I think his party would support them, especially after what happened in this election. Because in 2028. With the Democrats seeing what happened in 2024, they're not going to stay home because they think somebody's not far left enough. They're going to do anything they can to keep Republicans out, which is understandable. Phil, thanks for the super chat. And Phil says, Kaiser from TFS telling people that voted for Trump to F off that follow him, compared him to Hitler, calling people who voted for him bad people, etc. People, I didn't know he was doing this, but yeah, people have lost their minds. Just absolutely lost their minds. You guys have seen Alex in here. Alex is my best friend. And we are politically diametrically opposed, but we have great conversations.
They can't wait to stab each other in the
back. You're not wrong, but I think you could have just said politicians. They'll all stab each other in the back. Yeah, you're right, without question. But I gotta say, Palpatine, I think that goes across the board in politics. There it is. I love that one. I'm so simple. Peter Griffin farting is always going to make me laugh my ass off. Let's see. Hannibal says, yeah, Kaiser. Oh, it's talking to Kaiser. Okay. Tulsi got named as director of national intelligence. Did she? Thanks, Haley. I had seen that they thought she was going to, and I appreciate the update on that election there. I was wondering who won it. Let's see. Excuse me, guys. Let me just make sure. Oh, and I just got from a friend of mine. Matt Gaetz is Attorney General. There's a friend of mine who follows politics. Oh, it's my son-in-law who follows politics as well. And he just said Matt Gaetz is AG. Wow, I didn't know that. Is that one a surprise? I didn't see that. Maybe I just out of the loop. But I didn't see that one coming. That's an interesting choice, Alex. You're not wrong. Matt Gaetz. Now, see, again, that's a tough one for me because Matt Gaetz, for the most part, on policy, aligns with me pretty well. But he tends to go off the deep end a little bit too often for me. That's wow. That one surprised me. And again, I could have just, maybe there were rumors to that effect, and I just hadn't caught them. But wow, I didn't see that one coming. Sending me gifts. Wow, that surprised me. Yeah, Morton says Matt gets what he gets. Yeah, he's Shelby. Matt Gaetz is what, congressman or senator? He's in the House or Senate? I can't remember. He's in the House, right? But anyway, he's been in the midst of lots of controversy over the years. You'll know if you see him. Very square head. What policies does Matt support? We'll have to look into them more now, Sideground. As I said, you guys know where I am on policy. For the most part, I go along with Gaetz. The issue is, and I've told you guys over and over, I'm not into extremism. And he's gone a little too far for me on certain things. It'll be... I got to think about this one a little bit. I'm just having trouble articulating exactly how I feel about it because that one caught me off guard. I didn't see that one coming. CJP says a politician involved in controversy? No way. Sideground. I'm telling you, when you find out who these people are and see their actions, you'll see what I'm saying. I'm well aware of who these people are, pal. You're just, again, you're way, way over here. So anybody to the right of center is going to be evil to you. You've told us as much all day today. These people. Tulsi one is a surprise to me, even though there were rumors to it. No, that one didn't surprise me as much, Hannibal. You knew Tulsi was going to get a position, and that one doesn't surprise me. Politics is a wait and see process for the most part, Mortem. Yeah, for the most part. Myung Jo says Trump talked a lot of shit to North Korea, but it eventually led to him being the first U.S. president to go into North Korea and led to the summit. Biden just kind of did a hands-off approach as usual. So, yeah, I mean, definitely were entirely different strategies for dealing with North Korea. Yeah, no doubt. Crimson Emperor says, did y'all hear that Brandon Herrera, that AK guy, is being pushed to RFK to become, by RFK, to become the head of the ATF? Freaking hilarious. Oh boy. I got to read up now. Apparently there's a lot going on as we're streaming, guys. I got to go catch up on what's happening. Excuse me. Kaiser says the CEO ruling the country sounds like Kaiba going borderline dictator in dark-sided dimensions. He even found God to be a shitty designer of reality and wanted to fire him. I think, though, that earlier comment about a CEO, if I remember right, was it Min-Young Jo? Was it you? Somebody had mentioned something about not liking the idea of a CEO getting these high profile positions in government. But that person wasn't talking about as president. They were just talking about as leading large federal agencies. Sagron says, I hope you drop your bias. Okay, I don't need to read that any further than that. I hope you drop your bias. Come on, you weren't saying that seriously. You were saying that ironically. You had to be. There's no sense in reading any further. Anything more than that's just going to be ridiculous. Did I watch Transformers 1, Connor? No, I've never watched any of the Transformers movies. I was never a big Transformers fan. My oldest son was wildly into them. I believe he still has a lot of his collection of the old Transformers and everything, but it was just not something I stayed away from, just nothing I ever really gravitated towards. Corthus says, plus these picks are pretty middle of the road when it comes to the right. People are acting like he made Alex Jones press secretary. Yeah, the furthest right one I've seen so far would be Getz. That's definitely the furthest right one I've seen. Everybody says that CJP says Transformers 1 is actually a masterpiece. I've heard that from a number of people over at the Goosh, here at the channel. Yeah, people love that movie. I would probably enjoy it. It's just, again, it was just something I never gravitated towards, and I have so little time to watch movies or anything anymore. When we do get an opportunity, my wife and I like to try and find something we both enjoy, and she wouldn't be into Transformers. But yeah, I've heard nothing but good things about it. All right, guys, I got to pack it up for today. I still got a bunch of editing to do and stuff. Thank you for the stream. This was a lot of fun. Thank you for the conversation, as always. I have such a good time chatting with you guys, and it's fun that we can have the conversation about politics and stuff and still have all the insanity of everything else that goes on with Sonic and Homer and GLaDOS and everyone else. But I appreciate y'all being in here with me. Good to see my friend Alex in here. Alex, stop by anytime. And again, Alex knows his politics really well, and he excuse me, he's certainly not far left, but clearly a Democrat and a more classic liberal. So I like getting his take on things as well. That's him, and I used to have great political conversations when I was still in New York, so we could hang out together. So I enjoyed that. But yeah, thank you guys. I really enjoyed this stream. Enjoyed talking with you. Hopefully we'll be streaming tomorrow. I hope to stream every day. So hopefully we'll get to hang out again tomorrow. I don't know what the stream will be about. We'll figure that out as we go. There it is, Jill. Thanks, Plankton. And Big Green got us with the "we'll be right back." That's how we know we're done. Because you guys know I've been hit on the head with a lot of metal folding chairs. I need something to be an indicator for me. Thanks, you guys. I'll talk to y'all as soon as I can.
Sorry, I got distracted.
That's okay, Sonic. That's okay. We got it in. That's all that matters. And yes, that's what she said. That's how. Okay, it's over.